Thank you very much, Dr. Kusuma Chandraji, Honorable Chair, and fellow warriors of justice, friends from across the world, partners from the ADB and AFDB. Namaste to all from India, that is Bharat. So I belong to Bharat, which is the land whose very soul is echoed in our ancient scriptures. Satyam Vada Dharmam Chara. Speak the truth, uphold the righteousness. So we hail from civilization that defined the highest standards of governance. We gave the world the ideal of Ram Rajya, a system so demanding of integrity that, as our epics tell, king had to subject his own queen, Sita, to a trial by fire, and that is called Agni Pariksha in our language. So, merely to address the slightest whisper of public suspicion, the standard was that high in our country. This ancient wisdom, from the rigorous judicial expectations from the Ganga's banks to the Ubuntu philosophy of Africa, where I am because we are champions community good over individual greed. But friends, I stand before you today not as a curator of proud history, but as a witness to its brutal betrayal in our modern times. Look around this room. Today, we are not just gathered as bureaucrats or academics or the media person, we gather as warriors of integrity. From Manila to Nairobi, from Delhi to Jakarta, we represent the conscience and the frustration of the Asia and the global south as a whole. For decades, we have been treating the symptoms of corruption. We file cases that takes 15 years or maybe so on to go nowhere. We create institutions like India's Lokpal, born from the fire of mass movement, now standing as cold monuments to broken promises. We write reports, we attend forums like this, we diagnose while the cancer metastasizes. Let's be honest with ourselves. Our current fight is a placebo. It's time for chemotherapy. Let's be clear about the disease. It's no longer the petty bribe. It is institutionalized, sanitized, and systematic looting. Let me make this real. When a kilometer of high quality road should cost maybe around 5 to 7 to 10 CR, 10 crore, but in many of the nations, including ours, it is sanctioned maybe in hundreds of rupees. Whatever is the explanation for that, but that is secondary. What is that difference? And that difference is not just a rounding error, it is a corruption tax. And it is paid. Paid by whom? Paid by people. People like us. So, in broken roads, in broken trust, and broken futures, this is how the corruption is going on. We hear promises to bring back black money, yet funds in secret Swiss accounts have increased. We see policies, severe policies like demonetization, austerity that punish the poor, but leave the architecture of grand corruption completely untouched. We are fighting a ghost, but it is ghost made of solid gold, hidden in offshore accounts, London penthouses, or maybe massively inflated contracts. This is not just true for India, this is true for entire world maybe. Maybe a few countries would be exception to that. Friend, I would like to discuss about the United Nations Millennium Development Goal, the MDG 2015. It is spent trillions of dollars, but they failed. They failed because they politely ignored the elephant in the room, corruption. That elephant was corruption. But they ignored it. The Sustainable Development Goal, after finishing the Millennium Development Goal 2015, The UN, the world coined a new ideology, the new formula for the development, for the prosperity, and that was the Sustainable Development Goal 2030, SDG, as our goals. But this is also faltering, maybe because of some reason. So think about it. Funds means for schools are siphoned off into maybe shell companies, climate adaptation budgets, and for the climate adaptation budget is diverted into luxury real estate. Health infrastructure, which should be there, is inflated on paper and then ghosted in reality. So we cannot and we must not attempt to build sustainable futures on foundation of stolen money. So you must have heard the story of the sparrow and the locust, which is the worst kind of the prevention. Because when we talk about the prevention of corruption, this story comes from the pages of the history. So let me tell you this story, a warning from the history. In 1958, China launched the Four Pests campaign. One of its target was the sparrow, believing it that they ate too much grain. A symptom, millions and millions of sparrows were killed in China. It looked like action. It felt like progress. But was it? It was not. What happened next? Without the sparrows to eat them, the real pest, the locusts, multiplied. The result was not a greater harvest. The result was a devastating, catastrophic famine in the country. This is the worst kind of corruption prevention we practice today. We are obsessed with killing the sparrows. We hunt the petty clerk, the low-level inspector, the traffic cop, asking for a small bribe. But we hold seminars, we create task forces, we write new rules, all to hunt sparrows. And while we are distracted, the locusts are feasting. The systematic looters are increasing. The policymakers rigging the budgets, the corporations and the cronies writing the laws, the ones laundering billions. We are killing the sparrows. While the locusts of grand corruption are causing a famine of development, a famine of trust, and a famine of justice. So we must stop this failed campaign. We must stop attacking symptoms. We must target and institutionalize and improve our system. So this is the scenario today here. When we talk about the issue today, what is the therapy to this? What is the corruption prevention measure which we can take? So I have prepared a 5-point manifesto for prevention, and that I called a chemotherapy. I propose a 5-point manifesto for real prevention. One is mandatory sunlight. What does this mean? It means every government contract over $1 million, every single one, must be published on a global searchable public ledger, perhaps a blockchain, unchangeable, no secrets, no shadows. If a road in Nigeria or a dam in India costs 10 times the global norm, let public scrutiny be the disinfectant. The second point which I have developed is this 365-day justice bomb. We must establish fast-track anti-corruption courts. Their mandate, 1 year, 365 days to investigate, prosecute, and convict. Why? Because in our countries, delay is not a process flaw. It is a strategy used by the powerful. We must break it. Number 3, my suggestion would be to protect our immune system. Who is our society's immune system? It's the journalists, the whistleblowers, the activists, and they are being murdered, jailed, and harassed into silence. We need an international legally protected fund and task force to shield them. They are our first line of defense. The the 4 point of prevention I have proposed is the iron rule of asset disclosure. It's simple. If you want to serve the public must see your assets and how it is growing. So every politician, every senior bureaucrat, and maybe every judicial person, or maybe surely from the every media person, they should immediately, with their families, publish their assets on a mandatory basis to public, to online portal, from president to the mayor. Let the people be the auditors. And fifth, I have a suggestion for this, especially for this forum, that a Global South Alliance for Asset Recovery. When a politician from Kenya loots public money and buys a villa in Dubai or London or maybe Paris, or a businessman from India flees to London, we wait decades for justice. No more. We need our own legal task force, an Asia-Africa alliance, to seize those assets and return them within 5 years, within a time frame clearly defined. Not 50 years, not 20, 30 years. We must stop being victims of a global financial system that profits from our own stolen wealth. Colleagues, we are discussing about prevention of corruption. We have seen the mass movements from Brazil to South Africa to India. The people are awake. The question is, are we, the leaders in this room, brave enough to finally prescribe the real medicine? Let us move from being a forum of discussion into a coalition of action. Let us not just diagnose the cancer. Let us become the surgeons who can remove it. In India's tradition, even the pure, like Sita, as I told you earlier, even the Sita had to undergo an Agni Pariksha, a trial of by fire, to prove their integrity. So if the innocent were tested, why are the powerful people exempt? So let us build a future where the Agni Pariksha, the litmus test, is for the powerful, not for the powerless. The time for prevention is now. The time for action was yesterday. And as the great Nelson Mandela said, it always seems impossible until it is done. With these words, I would like to thank you very much again to Dr. Kusuma Chandra for inviting me to this Asia-Africa forum. And thank you everybody here. Thank you, Jai Hind. Victory to Africa and victory to Global South. Thanks a lot.